All right, it looks like we're live here. Hey, this is Dr. Osborne. It's your mindset moment, and the title of this one's Peanut Butter and Jelly. So it's one of my favorite stories of all times because there's these iron workers, and they would sit up there. They have these tough guys, and they would had hard lives, and they sat up on the steel girders 40 stories above the city, and every day they'd eat their lunch, and they'd open up their metal lunch boxes, and but there was one guy that would always complain about his lunch. He'd always complain about his peanut butter and jelly sandwich. He'd talk about how bad the peanut butter was. It was the bad. He talked about how he hated grape jelly every single time, and that every single time he had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich on bread that he didn't like, on the peanut butter he didn't like, on the grape jelly that he absolutely didn't like. And one day, one of the guys said, "Hey, let me ask you a question. Why don't you just tell your wife that you don't like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches?" And the guy goes, "Well, I'm not married." He says, "Well, so then who makes your sandwiches?" And he goes, "Well, I do." And I think that's the point of this story, is that we all make that sandwich that we eat every day. And most of the time we're complaining about our lives. We're complaining about the way things are. And guess what? You made your sandwich. You make it every single day. So if you don't like what you're eating, why don't you just change what you're making there, okay? And so with that being said, there's a concept, and that to be able to understand what you're making, your brain cannot comprehend the negative. What that means is that when you put a negative in front of something, your brain literally only pays attention to the action associated with that. Meaning, if my wife says, "Hey, TJ, don't forget to pick the kids up from school at 3 o'clock." What my brain hears is, "Forget to pick the kids up at 3 o'clock." And so what happens is that 2:59, I look down at my watch and I'm going to be late. But if she had said, "Hey, pick the kids up at 3 o'clock," my brain would only hear, "Pick the kids up at 3 o'clock." Same thing as if I say, "Hey, do not think about an elephant. Do not think about a camel." Odds are that you guys actually just thought about an elephant, or you just thought about a camel. Or how many about you, if you're with parents, right? And you have the kids, and you tell them, "Don't run in the street." And they keep running in and out of the street, in and out of the street, as opposed to if you said, "Hey, why don't you just run on the sidewalk?" So you got to command your brain to do what you want it to do. You got to and speak to people, speak life into them, speak what you want them to do, not what you don't want them to do. So what I'm going to suggest to you as you move forward, be conscious today. Be conscious of your thoughts. Be conscious of the words that you use, and try to remove those negatives in between in those thoughts. And I promise you, your outcomes will be so much better. Hey, I just, the last thing that I wanted to share with you. I was listening to a friend of mine, and he was talking about how he was at the beach, and this little kid came up to him and said, "Hey, what kind of animal are you?" And he's like, "Well, I don't know. I'm a wolf." And she goes, "Well, I'm a walrus." And I thought about that when he was telling me this story, and I'm like, what's kind of the use of a walrus, right? Like, what are we raising our kids to be? What are we raising the people around us to be? Are they going to be wolves or walruses, right? But if I want to raise my son to be a wolf, meaning that like somebody that is like a leader, and somebody, I have to become a leader first. If I want to raise my kids to be healthy, right, I have to become healthy first. If I want to be happy, my kids to be happy, I have to be happy first. And so much of the time as a parent, you want everybody around you to be something that you're not. So my challenge to you is to become the person that you want all those people around you to be. Hey, look, this is Dr. Osborne. I just want